Hello, Fred.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, welcome to this January meeting of the East Lampeter Sewer Authority. Members present, Brent Stolzfus, Todd Stump, myself, Rick Robinson. On Zoom is, or YouTube, I don't know what YouTube, it's Zoom, is it?
Zoom.
Right. We also have from the township, Ralph Hutchison, Charlie Thomas. From HRG, Matt Ziti. I invite you to join us in the pledge of the American flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First thing up, the organization. Members. Unless anyone wants anything changed, I guess. Do status quo. Fred, would you want to be chairman?
No. You can hear me, right?
So
I'll make a motion, we keep all the sewer authority board positions the same.
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
I
We have a nomination for engineering firm. Can we do engineering, law, and accounting together, or we have to name each one up, I guess?
Our accountant would be
Weinhold and Nichols.
make a motion that we keep accountant Weinhold and Nichols, solicitor Nicholas Hohenado, and township or engineer HRG.
It's Irvine. Yeah, we haven't had one Lincoln for a long time. Irvine Associates.
We'll amend that Irvine Associates and that one.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
Vote moved. We've had the minutes for a few weeks now, unless there's any additions or corrections to the December 13th minutes. We're going to stand approved as written. Treasurer's report, sanitary sewer.
We have checks that need, bills that need paid in the amount of $1,266. And as of the end of the year, we have a checking balance of $6,008.36.
Requisitions,
We have 5. First one is requisition 03-629. This is payable to Wesco Design Construction Incorporated for the Scalper Run Station Improvement. AF number 3, the amount of $92,125.78. Next is requisition number 03-630. Payable to Garden Spot Electric Incorporated, again for the Scalper Run Pump Station improvements. This is for the electrical contract for AFP number 6 in the amount of $66,150. Next is 03-631. This is payable to Fulton Bank, care of City of Lancaster, for the wastewater treatment plant special and emergency capital improvements amendment number 2. It's that escrow agreement in the amount of $37,325. Next is requisition number 03-632. This is payable to Optimum Control Corporation for the Stout Run Pump Station improvements. They're providing the control panel for that project. It's AFP number 1 in the amount of $26,243. And the next is requisition 03-633. This is payable to Herbert Golden Grubeck Inc. This is for regards to the Stout Road Pump Station improvements for construction administration, the amount of $6,273.21.
We're looking for a motion to pay the bills and the requisitions for the sanitary.
And requisitions.
A motion to get second.
Second. I'll second.
Say aye. Aye. So moved. Stormwater treasurer.
We have bills that you paid in the amount of $3,082.05. We have a checking account balance of $940,231.15.
For a motion to pay the bills for the stormwater.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay. Moving on. Old business sanitary sewer south of run upgrade.
Startup of pump 1 occurred on December 20th. The pump has been operating since then in the lead position to make sure there's been no issues, and everything's been working well at this point. The startup of chopper pump for the station that mixes the wet well occurred on January 4th. They're working through some bugs with the control panel, which shut up, will turn on and on, so contractors are working right now on the installation of pump number 2, and that's scheduled for startup on January 18th. And then pending no issue, pump number 2, startup and operation, installation of pump number 3 will commence in late January with startup plan for February 2024. So in the engineer's report, there's a couple of photos, pump 1, and then move to the top photo there, you can see on Bruce 2, the new pump is at the forefront on the inside. In blue is the motor. Behind that in white is the pump with the valve on top of that. And in red across the top is the new discharge piping coming from that pump. So right now they're working on the pump in the middle of the photo. That's pump number 2, and then in the future pump number 3. So gives you an idea what's there now and how it looks from the existing equipment to the proposed equipment. And then in the photo below that is the new MC3 here installed. Just for your information purposes, on the far right side of the picture, that's the old, that was the old control panel box. So that'll eventually be removed once the new station is out of operation. There are creative items here relating to the contract for your consideration and action. Change order number 3 for the DESCO design and construction contract 2021 general construction is proposed. This change order extends the contract time due to electrical equipment delivery delays. The new substantial completion date for the project would be February 12th, 2024, and new final completion date would be March 11th. There's no change order, but there's no cost associated with this change order. We recommend the authority approval of this change order.
Okay, looking for a motion for change order number 3 for Desco Design and Construction.
I'll make a motion, we change order.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. So moved.
Change order number 2 is for Garden Spot Electric for contract 1-2. This change order is for extending the contract times, match that for contract 1. Because of electrical equipment delivery delays, and again, there's no cost for this change order.
Number 2.
Change order number 2 for Garden Spot Electric. Yes, and we recommend approval of that.
Motion to approve the change order.
Second.
All in favor of change order number 2, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you. And you've already processed or approved payment of application number 5 and number 6. Number 5 for Desco and number 6.
Matt, we're waiting on the square, something from Square D. Did that ever come in for?
Correct, yeah, on that second photo, the lower one, basically all that gray equipment at the bottom, that's overall used as the NCC, the various sections. So, they had some of those sections, but they're waiting on others to come in, so that's all now been received and installed. Anything else from an operational standpoint or not? It's fine now. Okay.
Okay, then we're gonna move on to city metering project.
The city's been working, I think that'd be the interceptors. Okay, so the city's been working on, they've been metering the flows of the Conestoga Gardens interceptor. So that's basically the area that probably like third or fourth class page in the drawing. We exhibit there at the end of the report. This is the area of the sewer authority area that includes the Tennessee Drive meter pit, Susan Avenue, and Bridgeport meter pit. So So the city's been metering these flows from the interceptor, and the interceptor generally follows the Conestoga River and conveys flow down to the city's Conestoga Gardens pump station, which then in essence basically lifts the flow back up to a higher elevation, dumps it back into a gravity interceptor, which then follows the Conestoga River around and conveys flow down to the Stevens Avenue pump station. The city conducted a long-term metering period to determine how much flow is in that line and if any sections of that interceptor are over capacity based upon current flows or projected future flows and would need to be increased in size. City completed a report and submitted that. We're reviewing it, and we're going to have a meeting with them in early March to discuss that. But their findings are basically there's no issue from a capacity standpoint within this interceptor. And this interceptor conveys East Lansing flow as well as Slassa flow and city. As I said, there's no issues from a capacity standpoint based upon the city's report. What the city is now looking to do is take this further, do a condition assessment of those pipes. So they just reported yesterday, they're developing a scope of work to do this, but what they want to do is temporarily bypass all that flow from that interceptor, insert cameras into the pipe to video inspect the condition of the interceptor to determine its condition. And based upon that, then determine If any repairs are needed, and if they are, what type of repairs are required. So this is pipe that's been in the ground since early 1970s. And just like you've been updating and rehabbing some of your system, it's an area that the city wants to investigate to see what may be required as well. Why it's important here, East Lampeter owns most of the capacity in that line. So the further away from the city you get, portions of that are predominantly all East Lampeter. As you work your way downstream, based upon other contributing flow going in, that percentage changes. Is a large East Lampeter probably the cost.
Yeah, they just yesterday rolled out their perspective on what percentage of the condition assessment project should be paid for by East Lampeter. It's over 90%. So we need to have a chance to examine how they came up with that. No, that's part of the reason why we'll be getting together with them.
One of the other things that we want to discuss with them, if you see kind of center left of the exhibit where it says, just above where it says West Lampeter Township, there's a little print line that says city ownership. The city believes that's where they start owning ownership of the interceptor. Everything up north of that and to the right of that line, they believe is East Lampeter owned, which would be a lot of pipe that is in the city as well as West Lampeter Township, and is substantially downstream of all the meter pits, which have historically been the point of delineation for ownership. So something else that we'll be getting into as well, researching. There's, I believe the cost they tossed out yesterday was about investigation, roughly $460,000. They put a placeholder number for possible construction costs around $6 million. They said they really don't know what that's going to be until they actually get in and do the investigation. So 90% $6 million, large cost.
It just doesn't seem quite. They determine what's East Lampeter's and what's, the city's flow and stuff like that, I would think, through there.
Yeah, the capacity numbers that are in the agreement are different than what they came up with. So there are capacity percentages of flow. So that's one of the things that we're going to want to look at to compare those numbers with what they came up with. So.
Anything else with the metering project? Okay, Strasburg Pike project.
So I reported last month, sat in webinar with the county for the ARP money. They're supposed to get a sometime in January to set up a meeting, discuss. They were going to be meeting up on the sidebar to see how much money was going to be distributed between entities. But I have not received word back. Discuss any of that, but that's for the project. They're on the south end of Strasburg Pike near Street. They just haven't distributed any.
Okay, any other old business under sanitary sewer? Old business under stormwater. Met with PADEP regarding pollution reduction program.
We reported on staff, and that's my mistake for putting it on, but we did have some conversation with, the engineer, I2 Capital and Lancaster Farm Trust. They were making the changes and getting some information that DEP is requiring. We're hoping to resubmit sometime back in March or once we gather all that information to get it back to DEP. So they accept our DEP. So we're still working, just waiting for some information to come back from.
Okay, moving on. Reviewed program, updated MCM, minimum control measures, planning, training with emergency responders for January 29, 2024.
For our municipal permit, that's our MCMs. We have to do a yearly review and test to make sure we're keeping up with everything. And also it's time for a yearly training with all the fire departments. And usually the last time we did, there's a couple of police officers sat in, and our stormwater coordinator and his assistant are going to spearhead that. That's set up for January 29th. It's the night all the fire departments get together for township-wide training. So they're probably going to hold that here. Getting a bunch of information, but just want to report that stuff is going out.
Any other old business under sanitary or under stormwater? Okay, new business. 2024 budget.
Yeah, this is the one that I had the 08 category last meeting, and it was supposed to be 09 for the sewer authority. But apologize for that. Extended out the day after our last meeting. Everybody's a chance to review and make comments for.
So you need a motion to approve the 2024 budget. Is that what you're looking for right now?
I will make a motion, we approve the 2020.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. The second to approve the 2024 budget. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. New business under sanitary sewer. CFA grant.
CFA held a special meeting in December to consider various funding programs that they have. And at that meeting, they awarded the authority $382,000 for its capital improvements projects, capital improvements plan projects. And this was for the application that was submitted for the COVID-19 ARPA H2O PA water supply and sanitary sewer and stormwater projects. So overall, that's roughly 10% of the estimated project cost that was requested with CFA for that. So I think it's back about page 4 or so of the engineer's report. There is a summary of the various capital improvement projects that were under consideration here for the authority. Working from the bottom up, these included the Oaks Pump Station 1 and Pump Station 2 eliminations, as well as lining in the South Run Pump Station wet well, the sewer replacement stream protection work along Willow Road, CIPP lining of asbestos cement sewer mains in the Hobson Road and Buckwater Road areas, and then I&I investigation and repairs in the Oaks Pump Station drainage areas. So CFA's DCED staff are in contact with the township staff here to handle some paperwork that is related to getting the grant agreements and such in place. Some information is back today on that, but I don't think we've received any copies of the grants or anything at this point. So, yeah, we're working on that. Hopefully,
expect by your February meeting, we'll have that here for you to look at and consider. I was looking at the summary information. It looked to me like the amount that was awarded was pretty much exactly the amount that we asked for Oaks pump station number 2. So I don't know if that's how they arrived at how much they were going to award, pick out a piece of what you applied for, but I don't know whether the language in the agreement is going to say it's specifically for that portion of the project, or it's still, you can apply it to any of those projects. I don't know yet.
If it really doesn't make much difference. Does it?
Depending upon what you want to do. I mean, if they're saying that it's, it's for the Oaks 2 pumping station removal, and that's not the project that you want to do, then it's a problem. But you wanted to do all of these, I think. So if there's money to help with any of them, it probably makes sense to take the money.
Okay. First meeting update.
We had the city partners, quarterly meeting yesterday. In the end, we just want to give a summary of a lot of the key items that were discussed. So, yeah, we worked with the handout that kind of lines up with the other business. But two penalties were in a hydraulic, or 2 partners were in a hydraulic penalty for higher flows than what they currently were. Then they're allocated for. A lot of projects that have been ongoing at the treatment plant. Some of those that have been in work for years now are being closed out. That includes the DO control DNR system bonding completed. The city is making a big push this year, it seems, to get a lot of projects moving. I could ask, like, how realistic is this? They're really making a big push this first half of the year because they're going to apply for funding for these projects through PENVEST. So that's their driving factor to fund these projects on their side, be able to utilize PENVEST funding. So you'll see in the notes there's a lot of stuff they're trying to wrap up here in the first 6 months for a design effort so they can apply for PENVEST funding. I think as was previously reported, they've got some long-term projects coming up that are in the $60 million plus range. So there's questions on how those projects will ultimately get funded overall. That may be a different mechanism than what's currently being done, where everyone funds the project up front before it goes out for construction. The requisition process is because of the cost of those projects. And I think the city was also exploring, I don't know how all the partners would do it, but the possibility of trying to do a joint PENVEST application where PENVEST funds the provides a entire project, covers all part of the cost and responsible for their share. So cities investigating if that's even feasible or not. Because PENVEST is able to offer interest loans at a rate of 1% versus what people get bonds or loans for otherwise. I think, yeah, I can go down through each of the individual items if you want, or if you can read them yourself if there's any questions. But for
We want these new numbers.
Not with fund. Yeah. Working with. The updated, fund accounts as well. She's working on updating that.
I bet that the city projects. Total amount that.
Sure. What? If the city gets all their projects completed what they anticipate. The total projects planned for East Lampeter in 2024. $12.3 million. That's how we will the by 17 of the script. And of that 12.3, 6.8 is associated with.
I think the headline's different this time. The headline for me is Lampeter portion or the next 2 years, $36 million. Basically involves upgrade. Hydraulic.
Can the city borrow on their side of it?
Right, yeah, they're
You're already,
Their cost is almost 98 million.
yeah.
that's what I'm saying, no. How are they ever gonna come up with that kind of funding?
And yeah, we kind of threw that out yesterday to say that we got to start talking about how we're going to finance, because all of it, this is a big number for all of us.
One thing that's been consistent since I've been here is the city comes up with the plans and then they just keep getting pushed back for projects.
That has been the case, and that's part of the reason why I asked that question yesterday about what seems to be a ambitious 2024.
Their finances don't seem to ever get any better, you know, and that sooner or later, I mean, they're not gonna be able to come up with that kind of money.
Yeah, I mean, some of the regulatory requirements are going to motivate this, and have to be done. Yeah, the utility operations are mostly different funding mechanisms than their general fund. So it's not taxation, it's, you know, user fees. And, you know, from a regulatory perspective, they pretty much say, raise your rates until you need to.
There's generally they say, you know, for water sewer rates, it's roughly 2% of median income is the number that's looked at. So there's some smaller municipalities, sewer authorities I deal with who maybe have 100 connections. Their rates are like $120 a month. So yeah, it's, yeah, the regulators say is that, you know, what can you report there? I know for the city, they report that they're going through a whole financial analysis to determine what their ratepayers can afford.
And they needed financial information from us because the regulators are looking at the whole service area and what those are for, not just the city. So.
I guess we'll believe it when we see it. Any other new business under sanitary sewer? New business under stormwater, MS4 update.
Nothing at this time.
Any other new business under stormwater?
It rained.
And it increased the flow.
It's back.
Any other business? Motion to adjourn.
One quick public table, sorry. I'm Freemeyer, Chair of the Supervisors. I was voted in the league's last meeting. I just want to say thank you for your service. I'm not going to be able to be at the January 31st forecast meeting, but I was thinking on the way over, I think you guys have the highest tenured board out of any touch, do you think? I mean, you're the administrator, 2 years.
That's right.
2 years. 2 years.
Yeah.
But if you add the tenure,
Yeah, that's probably true.
it's probably pretty high. So, a lot of history and knowledge. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Don't forget the RSVP to the forecast meeting.
I did. I know I did. Motion to adjourn?